Zijn kan de championship spreads of zo'n nou. Hele harder. Zal weer op de dag hebben dan wordt een buitje aan de shit voor me.
Welcome back, everybody. 8 o'clock on the 29th of October, episode 288. I'm Drift Johnson. This is Scuffed Epoch. You're watching Latent Space Live. Don't forget, all the links are in the description if you're watching live or if you're watching later. And let's say hello to everybody. Dragon Diffusion is first. He got Holocene working on Comfy. Sounds awesome. Might have to take a little dive back into the video scene soon, huh? Zeus says, hi. How's it going, Zeus? And Dragon says, boo. Yeah, no sound. I forgot to activate the new, it's the new website, right? I forgot to hit play. So thank you for reminding me. Ert Bull is here. Welcome, welcome. Hi, DJ. I'm trying to build a Comfy UI workflow that I upload video, use segment anything to mask, and I want to upload background reference. Excuse me, but I don't want person lose comms. Person lose comms. Trying to decode your question. Fernicar says battle cruiser operational. I'm trying to build a workflow that upload video, use segment anything. Yeah, upload background reference. But I don't want to person. I don't know what you mean by don't want person lose comms. I wonder what you mean by that, but. Yeah, you could do that. Do you want to do like change the background? I've got workflows that will take video and do RemBG. If you go into my DJZ workflows, you should be able to find a video background swap workflow. You'd probably be able to search for like video swap. You don't want to change your mask to area. Yeah, well, my workflow takes a mask. So if you have one or a video mask or whatever, however it is, mine's just being generated dynamically. So if you've got a masked area, you can supply that into the workflow. But to be honest, all it is layers. If you've already got a mask to split the video, that's all you need. Video with a video mask, 2 inputs. Obviously, I don't know exactly what you're trying to do, but certainly, there are many ways you can automatically even mask a person. I just use InspireNet RemBG for simplicity, but I do appreciate you might want to change it, or you already have one, right? But anyway, welcome everybody to the show. By all means, come by the Discord or book a coaching session or whatever it is you need to do. But I think that if you know what you're doing, you'll probably find the workflow up on my repo there. All right. So I hope that helps. But come by the Discord. Ask. Anyway. So what are we looking at today? Get creative with LLM Pipelines. What do I mean by that? Well, we put up a whole bunch of repos lately, which should help you. We've also done a big thing. Up until now, I've been using the best engine to do my coding. So I've been using the latest Sonnet, pretty much. There's a little bit of GPT-5 in there, but pretty much, you know. And we've been showing how you can actually do a lot of it with Gemini using good plans, right? And so what I did was I released a skill for Claude, which you can put into Claude Code. It's basically the prompt I use, with a prompt version. It's unfolding plans. So it started there with unfolding plans. So basically taking a plan, turning it into separate sequential phase markdown plans. So stages, you know, stage 1, stage 2, stage 3. Phase 0 would deal with setting up the project, and then phases 1 through however many would develop the entire app. And then we discovered we could even unfold the phases into sub-stages. And it's totally happy and fine doing that. It doesn't mind. It does it automatically. He understands. It's almost like it's built in. So anyway, well, it probably is. But the point I'm trying to make is, if you have a difficult part of a plan, you can unfold it again. So you don't have to unfold the whole thing. We started off by unfolding everything to test what the result would be. But now we've pretty much got it to a point where we can even tell him to dynamically unfold the more complex parts of it as he goes along. Now, the skill I made is basically like a Matryoshka type thing. You give it a plan, you say unfold this into phases, unfold into phases, and then if you give him phases, say unfold into substages, he understands, right? But anyway, that's already up on the GitHub. I'll show you the repo as we go through what we're talking about tonight. But basically, like I said, I want to encourage, have fun with LLM pipelines, because what we've done is we've effectively done a bunch of abstract brainstorms to create unconventional or less explored novel pipelines and architectures based on things like we've done wave propagation in the past. Now we're doing things like cybernetics, because it seems to work better with the whole coordination thing. Okay, so I want to show you what we did, where it came from. You'll be able to play with it. There's online versions you can mess with right now. I'm working on I've released a local version as well. So if you want to mess with source code, there's even a local version now you can mess with. And I'm working on the next one, which I've got the laptop, and we're going to have a preview of that. But I've already released the code for it. This is the fun thing. I've started releasing the plans before I build the app now. So you can go ahead and build it before me if you're quick. Anyway, let's get Sharona off screen. Thank you, Sharona, for doing the intro. She's a good girl. She does a great intro. So, just to give you a sort of thick overview of what this is, the hybrid swarm is kind of what I've ended up with. And it writes its own agents, writes its own plans, and then competes to see who wins. And then you get your answer. You can run them in parallel, but they work just as well singly, to be honest. So this is a parallel execution example where it ran 3 genuine API calls against Grok 4 Fast to determine whatever this was. It says it's writing Python, so it can do all kinds of stuff. Even though this isn't a code agent, I just want to stress the code, Grok Code Fast, is actually really good. We've been having a lot of fun with it. I put it through its paces. It managed to basically develop anything that we would want to develop with Sonnet. You just need good plans. And like I said, it's 10 times cheaper, so... And it's fast. It is fast. I'll say that. I still think it's worth using a more expensive agent to do the planning. But when you think it used to cost an amount of money, whatever the budget you used to have, divide that by 10. But then spend, I would say spend, $5 to $10 on planning with like a really good model. Make sure it's in substages, all nice and divided up. You need to chop it up like baby food. And then you can just spoon feed it to Grok Code. And you can actually do really complex stuff. Stuff that's way beyond what you should be allowed to get away with anyway. And it's so cheap. And like I said, if you want to do document writing and stuff, I would swap him back to the Grok 4 Fast, because it's like 3 times cheaper again. So, massive, massive savings. But anyway, let's talk about it. So we're going to have to go to the GitHub for this one. So many new repos, guys. I've been on a bit of a publishing spree. So Hybrid Swarm Local. is the latest one that we're going to be talking about, okay? Obviously, I'm going to be showing you the remote one because it just works. Already works. You can just use it. In fact, let's just skip to that part. hybrid-swarm.originai.com. It only requires an openrouter.ai API key. I recommend using Grok 4 Fast because it's cheap. You can do triple parallel. You can do parallel with 3 requests and it's still less than 1 cent. So anyway, it tells you how to do stuff. There is a thing. So I've put in a bunch of tips because if you just did the normal, you wouldn't know about this. It has issues. Obviously, you can just hook up Grok to it and make it fix it if you have issues. But like I said, I would say this is more for developers, the local version. Or if you have a specific idea, you want to like fork this and do something with it, all right? But there's a lot of cool stuff in here. Now, I'm not going to go over exactly all of that right here, because the cool thing is the online version has a tutorial built in, so I don't need to. But all you need to know is you go to settings, you put your API key in, you go to system, you put your Grok 4 Fast, will already be there. I would enable web search if you want. All it does is it appends :online to the end of any model that you choose. That's an open router feature to give you grounding. It's cheap as well. I haven't even noticed much difference in price for that. In fact, I haven't noticed a difference in price for that. Anyway, I think some models have search built in, so it'll use that if it's available. Otherwise, it uses the open router grounding, which is really cool. I will say a few notes on the swarm here. So vigilance, if you put this up, it will make more specialists because it creates new agents and they compete to stay in the top 10 ranking. Okay, kind of like gladiators, I guess. Lower, it will prefer to use the same ones you already have. It's defaulting to 7.5 because we're bootstrapping. No, I've actually learned one new approach. So after a certain number of tasks, you can do discover patterns. And look at that. I've discovered 4 novel and created 4 new approaches because obviously I've been using this. They'll get saved and they'll appear there eventually. All right, settings, database. You can purge the database because he does get good at what you've been doing with him. And sometimes that can create a bias, but he's supposed to be like a hybrid specialist, yeah? So he's going to get really good at whatever it is you're using him for. I don't have like profiles yet, but I think a good idea would be to have profiles. So you can say, oh, I'm going to use profile 1 for this task, and he gets really, really good at it. So let's talk about what it actually does, because it's a chat, guys. I could say, show me the latest LLM news from today. And it should go away and think about it while it's thinking about it. We can come back to this, yeah. Tutorial. Can I come back to it? Yes, I can. Right. Parallel execution complete with 3 specialists. The winner was Review Griffin. So this cost me less than a cent, by the way. Review Griffin won. Highest quality score 0.9. So as you can see, this is the latest LLM news as of today, October 29th. That is the date today, in case you're watching not live. And as you can see, we've got some good research. Right? If we go back here, it shows us what it did. It picked Review Griffin, or rather, he was the winner. It ran parallel execution against Writing Griffin and Research Fox. All of these guys have their own kind of specialization. Oh yeah, another thing about that. In the database, you can export the data and look through the JSON with an LLM to discover what the hell is going on. So for example, if they've just written you new approaches, you know, you can export the data, go to LLM, say, what new approaches have you actually just written? You know, I would do it in a different system just to keep it, you know, keep it clean. Imagine that actually. Should we try it? I've never tried it. Should we try it? I'll just ask him. I'll clear this and can I actually, yeah, let me just, I've never done this. How long is that? Oh my god, it's 500,000 characters. Yeah, it's too long, guys. Mission abort. He's got too much in there. You can't possibly put, it's 500,000. I mean, I could probably put it into cloud. Let's do a quick spot check here, shall we? Spot check. Okay. We have learned new approaches which are in this JSON. Extract them and assess them from the perspective where they will be used to form approaches, dynamic instructions for LLMs to complete tasks. Okay, we'll let him cook on that one and go back to the main event. So, as I say, it writes out your thing. Okay, so here it is writing comfy nodes. Okay, so it can do stuff. And I didn't even put it in the code model. That's just Grok 4 fast. We don't know if it runs yet. We didn't try. But the point is, it tried, which is crazy impressive. But anyway, like I said, we did a bunch of stuff here. Right. I'm in the wrong window, aren't I? Has he lost it? Yep. This happens every time. It totally kills the flow. Can we find it? Too many windows, man. My fault. But let's get to the tutorial. That was the important part. You can try it out at your leisure. It's online, or you can download it and mess with it. So anyway, what is the hybrid swarm? Well, it's self-organizing. It does adaptive learning. And then you can check out the traces. You can download them and look at them. What makes it hybrid? It combines 3 coordinate mechanisms: art, neural inspired; dynamic approaches, pattern based; and stigmergy, which is swarm inspired. Each layer operates independently, but they all influence each other. The adaptive resonance theory is layer 1, a vector based specialist. So the task arrives, it's vectorized. The system calculates similarity with specialist signatures. If the similarity exceeds the vigilance threshold, the specialist is selected. If there's no match, a new one is born. After execution, the specialist signature is updated based on success. Okay? So if you explain machine learning, a specialist with the signature that contains vectors for explain machine learning AI will resonate. Hello, Gaurav. A specialist that previously handled what is deep learning will match strongly. Okay? So that's basically how that works. The pattern discovery. So while art selects who handles the task, this layer determines how. Approaches are response patterns discovered through clustering analysis of past execution. They capture style, structure, and strategy. The system accumulates 10 plus execution histories in the bootstrap phase, and then you use that pattern trigger, which I showed you, and it clusters algorithms, and they become approaches which then get used in future. So after analyzing conversations, the system might discover analytical approach, technical, creative approach, metaphors, concise approach, bullet points, future tasks matched to the appropriate style. Okay. And then layer 3, stigmergic coordination. So this is named after, it's pheromone-like. It's named after how ants coordinate through pheromone trails. The layer uses signals to mark successful combinations. When a specialist approach pair performs well, it leaves a trace that influences future decisions. Signals decay over time to adapt to changing patterns. So the life cycle goes like this. Specialist completes task using an approach. Quality is measured, response relevance, coherence, and then signal strength is a base strength plus quality bonus. That's stored with a timestamp. So there you go. So here's your example. Specialist uses analytical approach successfully 5 times. Strong signals accumulate. When a similar task arrives, system is more likely to select specialist 3 with analytical approach, even if another combination scores slightly higher. Okay. So when you first get this, it's empty. It doesn't have any agents. It doesn't have any approaches. So the first prompt you do seeds the first specialist. So during this phase, it uses a fallback approach, which is just general purpose coordination. That's from the original hybrid swarm. While accumulating execution history, you see a progress indicator showing 7 out of 10 executions. Anyway, to be honest, he makes, he's going to learn the first 10 goes, I think, roughly, the first 10 successful times, he's going to be spawning new agents and trying new approaches, okay? Once you have 10, you click that button, and as you saw me do just earlier, if you found enough patterns, if you were working on similar tasks, it will find new approaches, okay? So that's him improving. But I did make it so that you have to click the button. It doesn't do it by itself. So I didn't want it doing it all the time, to be honest. And then finally, emergent coordination. So all 3 layers now active. How to read the swarm traces. When you get your chat back, you can pop open the bottom and you can check it out. There are also 2 download buttons in the chat. You've got export for the whole thing, and then you've got a download button for just that one. But I think one or both of them include the additional swarm stuff. I forget what I did. So I do it differently every time, guys. Okay, so usage guide. Set up your API key, put in some diverse stuff, just check it out, try to seed it with things you want to do. And then run the pattern discovery. You can check out the traces. But essentially what this is an experiment. That's why I keep saying, get creative with LLM pipelines. You don't have to do chat convo. You can do anything you want. And Grok 4 can write it all for you. So you don't even... I didn't write a single line of TypeScript. It all works. Okay? So I just want to be clear. Like, you can conversationally go to a Claude or a ChatGPT, make me a plan. And then take the plan and say, divide this into separate, more detailed plans. That's what unfolding is. And then, this plan looks a little bit complicated. Unfold it into substages. Now what we have is a playlist of instructions. You put them all in a project, hook it up to Grok code fast. Oh, it's so good. And you let it rip, and it's writing all the stuff that we were doing with Sonnet 3.5 and 3.7 already. It's already at that level, in my opinion. Okay, sure, maybe it's not as smart at certain things, but for what we're doing right now, it's actually really good, and it's so cheap. You're talking 10 times cheaper than Sonnet development, okay? And then when it comes to documentation, we flip it over to Grok 4 Fast, and now we're paying 30 times less than we were with Sonnet 4.5 development. Now, I'm not saying drop Sonnet, because I still use it for the planning, but I don't judge. If you want to use Gemini Pro, or if you want to use one of the GPTs, I don't care. All it is, it's like, what paint do you use? Okay, to me, it doesn't matter what paint you use. It's about what you're comfortable with. So if you paint with GPT and I paint with Sonnet, it doesn't really matter. But the interesting part is we can get a lot of the sort of simple coding work done, like, set up the project, make the React, build the web server, turn my, once you've got your React dev, say npm run dev, you've been doing a development app in that, and you want to develop it to web, and there's like thousands of errors in lint. You can just get Grok to do it. Just leave him running. It will cost you like 50 cents. I think we had a really interesting, we had a project we were working on over the last couple of days, and I think there were 45 lint errors. Now with Sonnet, that would have cost a lot of money to do. It would have been like $20. Easy $20 there, because there's so many actions and they're all like not really that difficult to do, but he's got to do them, otherwise you can't build for the website, you see, to deploy it to Apache, right? So anyway, it's really interesting, like I said. But Grok, he slammed it. I mean, look, the website's still experimental, guys, okay? So I'm going to show you a new one. This one would be spittoon-pacing dot scuffed epoch. No, not scuffed epoch. Sorry. OriginAI.com. Oh, I spelt it wrong. I'm an idiot. So this one's actually not quite ready. So I'd say it's close. It's close to ready. This is the latest app in the NSL ecosystem for writing. Okay, I'll give you a quick demo because it's super simple. I know it's like, because this is kind of related to the process, right? Because like I said, we built this entirely with Grok Code Fast, using a plan. Yeah. And let's say it's got the same styling, it's got the same concept. It uses anyway. Let me just show you what it does. It's quite a cool little concept. We've already released the agent, by the way. There's a system prompt you can already get on GitHub. But yeah, we'll just chuck a key in here real quick. It's going to default to Grok. I mean, you can change it, but it's going to be Grok 4 Fast. This doesn't need what we call an NSL narrative bucket, which is used for writing stories. We don't need that for this because it's a bit more general use. But it's designed to do culling to a specific pattern. So it does pattern recognition on the story or the page, right? Let me see if I can get something here. We got something here. Gold cards, readme, Bunraku, but nothing here. Here we go, landlocked. 20 questions, that's lore. Hang on, let me get a page from the story real quick, okay? This is all public if you want to check it out. So we'll get page 1 or chapter 1, I guess. Yeah. So I'll say this would be landlocked. I'll just do page 1. Okay. Paste it in, right? Now, has this still got a problem? It better not. That's good, that's good. Last night we had some problems. So basically what it's done, it's detected, and this does change. It said it's alternating emotional arc, dialogue heavy, multiple core moments, 42 dialogue instances. Okay, so we're just looking at one page right now. And it's recommended we use the sine wave. Now, what am I talking about? We're talking about culling here. Because when you do AI generated text, it kind of comes out super thick and technical and descriptive and emotional and sensory. And so what we're doing is we are respecting the core, not touching speech or pivotal moments, and we're going to apply a bulk strategy using pattern detection. So the idea is it detects the patterns for the pages, it assigns them. So if we use sine wave, what it'll do, it'll start with no cut, hardly any culling. And then as the chapter progresses, it will cull more. Then it will cull less at the middle. Then it will cull more. And then it will cull less towards the end. So if you imagine a very thick descriptive block, it will seem to thin and thicken and thin and thicken. And this is for pacing. It's done for the benefit of the reader. In some cases, I've seen it cut 80% of the text, and when you read it back you're like, yeah, to be honest, it is way better like that, because the AI text is sometimes extremely thick. Yeah, I call it wet. When you do like an AI enhance, upscale, whatever it is you do to make your story like richer, adding descriptive information, all this sort of stuff, it can come out quite like a slab of thick meat where the story was the bones. So what we do here is we take a cheese cutter and sort of sculpt it back into a shape. So obviously the different templates are designed to give you, if it's like, maybe you've got a section with action, right? So you're going to have less, it's going to be very descriptive at the beginning and then get less descriptive as the action intensifies, for example. But there's chase sequences, mounting danger, building dread. So obviously if you know what you're doing and you know you're editing, but what it does is it enables you to do a bulk where you could have hundreds of pages and you just go, do peak middle, and it will alter the pacing, like I say. This is like the first version of this. But yeah, let me just show you what it does. All right, let's go. So it's going to use Grok 4 Fast for this. All of the tools now are switched over to Grok 4 Fast, because it's the cheapest, highest quality by far. Okay, so what have we done? we've reduced only 4.7% actually. We preserved the dialogue. So it didn't even do much on that one actually. You'll barely notice. You'll barely notice. So go to stats. You can see it removed 60 words. Okay, go to analysis. It shows the strategy that was applied. Obviously, your results, it's like your mileage may vary depending on the text and the strategy you pick. But once you're finished, you get to choose from all these different formats it will export into. So manuscript, courier, Scrivener, plain text, blog post HTML, enhanced markdown, EPUB HTML, before and after, and the diff report. The diff report's quite useful, and you can include the original text. Then you obviously got JSON as well. Export it or start a new project. Now obviously if I had a book, I'd say book 1, you know, and it's going to be add all the pages, you see. And we've tried this with like extremely long books like Romeo and Juliet, and it truncates. So we're still working on it, guys. Don't worry. I would say don't go nuts with this one just yet. It's out because we only came up with it 2 days ago. That's the point. We were able to have a system prompt go, this system prompt works well, and then turn it into a branded app inside the same ecosystem. Because I mean, look, I think you will appreciate that this app looks quite similar now. It's not exactly the same, but it's quite similar, isn't it? Is it not? But they were all created differently because, as I explained to everyone about a week ago, that's something else. That's something else. But that is actually, we talked about that tonight. Okay, the Exacto doesn't apply to every model, guys. Ignore the Exacto part. Where's that last thing we did here? Date? Come on, Windows. Come on, Windows. I believe in you. I don't think it's doing it. Is it? Doesn't look like it's doing it. Yeah, it's not filtering. Come on, filter the thing. Oh, Windows is such a bug. He's such a problem. He's a problem, isn't he? I was just wanting to bring up the old diagram. No. Useless. So I had a diagram which explained, I'll just go over it now, which explained what we did was we created a file format in XML first. So the NSL, which is, see it says upload existing bucket. So when you write a story with this tool, this will write entire books for less than 3 cents. Okay, it's crazy. But the point I'm trying to make is, it'll do its own file format. So it started off with writing an XML file format. Okay, and then that means that all the apps you develop, they're going to be planned with that file format in the context. So when you actually develop the app, the plan, before you've written any code. So we're talking about the ephemeral plans of pseudocode, right? We're going to plan it ahead, aren't we, with AI? So we're going to say, oh, we're going to make this plan, and it's going to have all this code, right? It's not real code, is it, yet? It will be. So we call that pseudocode, which is it's not really a new concept, it's an old concept, but I'm trying to bring it back. I think a lot of other people are too, so I'm going to make sure everyone's on board. But the idea is that when you write your readmes, they do have code, but it's not really in TypeScript or JavaScript or anything. It's just kind of like an idea. You've seen these code snippets before. So the AI can write it in whatever language you want, like French to German or Japanese to Chinese. It doesn't care. Python to JavaScript, let's go. 9 times out of 10, he can just do it. He can just translate, right? We see it all the time. You develop something in Python, you ask him to make it in React and TypeScript. Where's the Python? Okay, it's gone. Python's gone. Still does it all because he just translated it for you. I'm just trying to boil it down to the behavior and what's actually happening. Sometimes it's not important to see the super technical explanation. It's like we all know a spade digs. We don't need to know about how the metal parts the atoms of the dirt necessarily. We just need to grip it and use it right. But anyway, we create the file format first. That means that all apps in your ecosystem, which were going to become web pages, most likely, they're all going to match now. And so to make them look the same, we do a style extraction. So the first one you build, you do it once it's looking really nice, you do a style guidance extraction for branding handoff document, right? So it's going to give you another document. So now when you make the next app, you give the NSL spec sheet, so your custom XML file format, and then you also give it the branding as well. So then because you've got those two things, all of your plans are now going to be preceded with that context. So when it goes to making the plan, not only will you automatically be close to what it should look like, and then you've got consistency for that brand consistency in the apps, right? But then also, if it ever goes off, say you add something and it's wrong, you can be like, hey, check the NSL or whatever it is you call, check the XML file format document, or check the CSS style guidance. And because it's the source of truth, you see what I mean? Because you have a consistent source of truth, which you consistently use in your projects. There you have it. Now you have your, you know what I mean? And it's actually really powerful. So like I say, I want to share this stuff. This is how we built all these apps. But the difference between this app, Spittoon, Scribe, OriginEye.com, this one was done with Lovable, 100% Lovable. So that is Gemini and GPT-5. But once it's deployed and it works, so what did I do? I took the same the same planning method that I just described, and we did it 100% locally with Grok 4 Fast. So this is all local, 100%, right? Now, of course, we built this for web. So that means that this whole app is now 3 files. It's an HTML file, a JS file, and a CSS file. That's it. It's now 3 files that have been minified, and you chuck them on your Apache, done. So this one, even though it looks just like the other Spittoon apps, it's actually on my server. It's not on Lovable, you see? So that means we now have a way to go, oh, I'll develop my app, I'll host it with Lovable, and then one day, maybe I decide to bring it down to my local, add a few new cool features, and then deploy it as a proper website on my server. And it's just HTML, CSS, JS, literally 3 files. And like I said, I know I'm saying this like, wow, that's cool. That's just a normal feature, guys. If you use npm run and you're building on, if you're using npm, React, Vite, right? It's a function that's built in. Just like how we can say, oh, I want you to build this for Electron now and make a portable exe desktop app. You can also say, I want you to build this for web. And then your distribution folder will contain the web version, which you can host, which is what we've done here. So it's more to show the pipeline for development, all right? And as you can see, the detection look, it's detected different patterns for different pages in the book. So the first book gets linear fall, which makes sense because it's the first chapter of the book, right? Second page gets sine wave. The middle of the book, clearly something's going on because we get trough middle, probably romance. And then we get sine wave, and then linear rise for the end, which makes sense, doesn't it? Do you see what I mean? And he did it all automatic. So now I just go continue. Now again, I'm working on a couple of solutions to problems which are very common. Okay, so let me just go over one of them first, because this one is super useful and will help anybody. I love doing these sorts of things. This is the fun. So if I go into LLM base prompts, there's a couple of new things in here. One of them I want to draw your attention to. It's in here somewhere. LLM in-out chunking. So often it is the case with LLMs, you get truncated responses from the stream, and usually it's because there's a choke point or some problem with the pipeline which leads to you tripping over yourself or losing the responses. Whatever it is, he couldn't hold it all in the air. He was juggling so many plates and they were spinning, but they came crashing down. So The chunking manager is my solution for this, and this is why I was talking earlier about pseudocode, because unlike a lot of the stuff I do, this is one of the first pseudocode plans. So this is meant to be a universal plan which you can use with whatever coding model it is you use to just add this to whatever chat app you have. Or you can modify it, but let me explain what it does, because it's super simple. And when you're like, oh, okay. So we got input chunking, breaks large inputs into chunks. Output chunking captures and organizes responses for reassembly. So instead of trying to catch everything like a plate, where like you got like a faucet of water and you're trying to catch everything on a plate, instead of doing that, have a conveyor belt of buckets that fill, and they fill as fast as they can with parallelization and all kinds of nonsense. Okay, so we have chunk size, overlap size, timestamp, session ID, and this is supposed to be transparent and silent. Okay, does it say that? Model agnostic chunking system designed to handle arbitrarily large documents with LLM API calls. Open router, Anthropic, OpenAI. Prevent truncation through intelligent input chunking and systematic output assembly. System handles chunking transparently, allowing LLMs to process large documents in manageable pieces while maintaining context and ensuring complete output capture. I would say you can improve this by actually splitting context from the prompt and having two streams, but I didn't want to make it too complicated. This is what I mean by pseudocode though. It's not actually in a language, but it tells the LLM everything he needs to know to write it in any language. So it becomes like, I call it Gnostic code, okay? So it's literally knowledge embedded in the writing, gnosis, with a G at the beginning, a G gnosis. Anyway, gnosis. But as you can see here, there's another example. You see what I mean? It's not actually code. It's not actually a prompt. I mean, you might say, is that JSON? Maybe. I guess. It's close. But yeah, if you see the document, it's made so that it can be transformed by the LLM into whatever it needs to be. So that was the concept anyway behind this document. But obviously it's also the chunking system we were talking about. So we have the reassembly at the end, and that's done with deterministic scripts. So that's the point. We don't use LLM to assemble a big document. We let LLM make make a big old, you know what I mean? Let him make a big old sequence of 16 to 32K files, and then have a script assemble the chunks. Because Python and whatever, JavaScript, they can assemble as many text documents as you want all day. They don't have any problem. Don't even break a sweat. But LLMs, there's like a juggling limit. He starts to drop stuff. So this is like my first approach for this. Now this is the easiest one, and you can just copy this into a prompt. Sorry, you can copy it into a project and say, implement the chunking manager. And it will read the plan and just do it. And again, I don't know what the code looks like because it will adapt to your code base like a parasite. But there's also a V2 version for anyone who's feeling brave. And this one is a lot more complicated because it's the same concept but just enhanced with token aware chunking. Okay, now I would say this is a little bit more invasive. And yeah, but I still wanted to share it because it's kind of fun. I mean, I think it's maybe a little over-engineered, but I mean, if it prevents truncation of long outputs, that's fine. I don't care how over-engineered it is at this point. It's annoying when he truncates. So this would actually make a chunking orchestrator. So we're going to put LLM back in the mix, you see. This is why I kind of like the first version, because this one doesn't use LLM. It does it all with traditional programmatic stuff, right? And it seamlessly does it, so it doesn't get in the way. Anyway, just a little aside. Let's have a look at the results. Oh yeah, true. When you do a multi-page, it's meant to give a split view, and there's multiple pages, so obviously the split view doesn't work. But you can download the whole thing, and then you get all the pages with the comparison and the cold page. So if I just take a look at page 1, what do we got? So if you remember, it kind of cold more towards the end. Wait. Is there an insect in here? Anyway. This is obviously an original page, not an upscale, so it's quite short. But if I just squidge it down, you might be able to see. Oh, is it crashed or something? God knows. So anyway, I hope you can see. It's kind of hard to see. But if you look at the paragraphs, they're getting thinner towards the end. That's the only thing I can show you. It's the pacing agent's a work in progress. Like I said, it does work, but I'm not happy with its performance with long documents, and that's why I ended up making this. But I've ended up applying it in a bunch of other projects now. So pseudocode plans, which are like a modular system you can drop into an AI project and it'll give you that. So, but yeah, pseudocode. It's not actually code. It looks a bit like code, and an AI will just interpret it to be whatever you're working with. That's the idea. So then you don't need TypeScript plans and JavaScript plans and Python plans. You can have your intent in pseudocode, and then it will just, because it knows Python. Do you know what I mean? Who knows TypeScript? You don't need to. Anyway, so good stuff. Right. So we've looked at the pacing. Again, this was a local deployment, not and built from scratch with Grok code. So that was what that one did. That's an old tab, I think. No, that's the online version. Right. Okay, we're doing good. We're doing good. And the funny thing is, guys, all of this stuff that I've just told you, you're probably thinking, well, you've just released all of this. It can't be that great, can it? Oh, no. I got a whole new thing for Christmas. We're going to release everything, and here's why. I'm already working on the next thing. I don't have time to sit on things anymore. So basically, I need to just release everything, because it doesn't matter if it gets taken and renamed and used and they can make millions of dollars. It doesn't matter. I'm working on the next thing. I don't have time to worry about this. This is good. It's amazing. It's really good. And like I really like how this project came together. Like from an educational standpoint, this is awesome. You can introduce the idea of stigmergic coordination, which no one's even heard of. And then you don't even need an orchestrator. Like most of the AI sub-agent architectures use an orchestrator. This doesn't have one. So fundamentally, it has an advantage. It has an edge just in that fact. And I'm sure there will be others. And this is why I called the stream today, Get Creative with LLM Pipelines. Because it all starts with Cognition 9. There's a repo called Cognition 9. It's on here somewhere. Dude, it's caused a bit of an unfolding in my work in the last week. I've been unwell. I had a filling drop out, so I had time to be sat there, unable to do much else. Okay, sad face, but be productive. So what I'm saying is, I'm feeling okay now. Actually, I got to get all this stuff done now. People are going to be wondering where the hell Johnson's been, but I'm still here. I've just been busy. But like I say, Cognition 9. This is where it starts. So you have the multi-agent orchestration system. I decided to do it with Claude Code because it's more accessible. Anybody can just install Claude Code, and you know, I appreciate you need to have a sub for Claude, but you know, you got to start somewhere. There are actually 11 agent demos in this. It's like an all-in-one. Why did it take me? That's the all-in-one demo script. I don't know why it linked to that. Can we go to the bit where it tells me about all the different agents? Yeah, here we go. So these are all the different agents that are actually in this, because people didn't realize, like, I did go through them all on a live show, but we've looked at every single type of current orchestrator setup there is, and then proposed some new ones using the cybernetics VSM system, and then the stigmergic and the adaptive. and I combined adaptive with Stigmergic to make Hybrid Swarm. But I haven't touched VSM yet. That's coming. Well, I kind of already released it. Do you see what I mean? You can just use it already. But essentially, VSM is the basic cybernetic structure. Okay, so here is the VSM hierarchy agent. It has, like I said, 4 layers. So policy, intelligence, control, and coordination. So that's how it does everything. All right. It works. We tried it. We did it live. It's great. Next, orchestration patterns. So at the moment, you've heard of the orchestrator, who tells a bunch of sub-agents who are good at stuff, they're usually experts, to go and do stuff and then report back, and then he gives you the final answer. Parallel sends them all off at once. Sequential does research, outline, write, review, for example. And then a hub is like a hub and spoke. They're all independent, but anyway. These are the 3 traditional ones that you'll see everywhere. Now, a specialized worker might be a writer or a reviewer. Mind you, this actually has critics, so it's a bit special. Okay. But this is like, you know how we write sub-agents? So here would be an example of a Claude agent who is a writer. Critic reviewer is not just critic, it stands for something. Okay? It's a thing. It's a thing. Here, can we, let's try Google for once. Critic pattern. Lots of people talking about high-level stuff, but no actual explanation. That's usually a good sign. So, Stigmergic. Oh, here we go. Here are the ones I like. These are my... So the experimental agents. So these ones work on their own in Claude Code right now. They've been up for about a week or so. I don't know. So it's a self-organizing specialist emergence. So instead of having loads of pre-programmed agents, you just have an agent that programs himself. Dynamically creates a specialist based on a task pattern. Okay? That's number 1. And it uses, but it does use a Python. It's not just a prompt. Yeah. Next, the Stigmergic coordinator. So this one is the swarm intelligence. So agents coordinate through shared signals. Okay. And again, uses its own Python. Now, what I did is I built a hybrid of the 2. So that's how you get adaptive with Stigmergic. So look, you could argue that my orchestrator is here. So it's not really, but this one genuinely doesn't have an orchestrator. But the thing is that this isn't really used as an orchestrator. It's used just to create the agent, which then does a dynamic plan, which isn't here. That's how I built it together. But there's a whole repo based on that. So. But this is what I wanted to show you, was that this research was born from a YouTube transcript. I watched a cool video on cybernetics on YouTube and I thought, that's cool, I think some of this stuff might apply. So I took the transcript and I turned it into sub-agent plans. I know. It seems like a bit of a leap, but that was all in the prompt, see? As I'm using this transcript, we can... And I had a bit of a prompt. I probably was talking to Careless Whisper, so I probably just spitballed the idea, brainstorm style. Here's emergent pipeline research. That's the cleanup. So we did a cleanup of the transcript first. Okay? Amplification, attenuation. That's the whole thing. And then I've said, okay, cool. Let's make a big orchestrator research study that can experiment with some of these cybernetics concepts. We can actually build them out in Markdown, which was so cheap. Building out experiments in Markdown almost feels like a crime because you pay nothing. It was like 0.001 cents for the whole thing. And then obviously I used my Claude subscription, not API key, to test it. But anyway, I wanted to then see if we could convert it to Gemini and run it on Gemini and things like this. But what I actually found was better was just to rebuild the entire thing on TypeScript in React. That's the funny thing. I found that was actually a way better solution in the end, because then it is model agnostic. Anybody can play, right? I appreciate, but it's an open router. But I've shown many times you can just flip a switch with a coding agent. You say, oh, I'm using an app that uses Open Router LLM. I want to use Ollama for my local LLM and never pay again. And it'll just happily do that for you. The problem is you're going to run into stuff like context window error, because these big models, they'll just let you throw whole books at them, whereas the little models are still stuck in chunk mode. But that's why I built in that chunking system. I'm hoping that the chunking system will make it easier to port to Ollama, because you'll be able to literally say, I'll do a chunking strategy of 20k or something, so it's way inside the window. These are all theories I have to prove, but I need to build the tools to prove them. And what I'm trying to say is that you can have an idea, make a plan, build your app, fix the app, and then be like, I'll make another one that does something else. And they can all look the same. They can all use your own proprietary XML file format, .nsl, .nm3. I repeated it multiple times to make sure there were no flukes. This was just working. And 2 weeks ago, you needed Sonnet 4.5 or whatever. Now, probably you could have been doing it the whole time, to be honest, but I have to prove it, so I have to pay the price. But ultimately, I've now proven that you can do it all with Grok code. Grok code. I'm in danger. We had to put the meme up. Where is it? Where is he? Here he is. I'm in danger, guys. And with that, it's coffee time. good week while we're waiting for the coffee machine to finish. Shouldn't be too long. Oh yes, it'll be nice once all this is done to get back to the regular comfy UI scheduling. But the reality is, all my websites died, guys. What was I supposed to do? I literally had to like rebuild all 3 websites and the radio station. Probably should rebuild a gallery. Probably should make a new gallery. That's got a good idea. But we'll think about that, because I bet it will take like 10 minutes and then I'll be like, what are next? The funny thing about stuff right now, guys, is that even if you don't know, you can just ask and you will get your answer with immediacy, and usually it will come in the form of a plan that he will then carry out. So it's like, oh. But anyway, it just gets easier. I'm loving it. Right, let's get back. So then, welcome back everyone. Episode 288, halfway point, roughly speaking. Coffee's locked in. I hope you're all having a good evening. So, before we start moving on, because it's all kind of related. What's this Zeus saying? Let's go back to Yahoo hosted front page made websites. I say that's what a good idea. To be honest though, if you can do super cool modern React stuff and then deploy it as a website and then put them in your, it's a done deal, guys. It's a done deal. It's done. It's kind of funny actually to see that being the ultimate conclusion, but I'm sure it'll continue from here. It's a little bit more than just asking for a standalone HTML website. That's all I'm saying. Splitting all of the assets out in those Vite frameworks and then allowing React to have things like Tailwind and Font Awesome and all this sort of stuff. You know, it kind of looks generic unless you tweak it and then make your branding document. I just call it a brand styling document. Yeah, seems to work. But yeah, I've been extremely impressed with Grok Code Fast. I can't wait for the next one to come out. It's insanely good considering the price point. It's good, fast, and cheap. That's a major outlier. It should be more expensive or slower or worse. I don't know which. So I'm just going to make the most of it. Because it feels like when everyone figured out, wow, Sonic can write code. Because there was a point when that took place, when there was a realization and the vibe coding kicked off. And vibe coding can be expensive, guys. Some of you guys have been sitting in the hangouts we do after the show, and you can see how expensive it can get sometimes. And I'm just like, it's fine because this is valuable research in my line of work. But at the end of the day, man, the price just dropped out. It just went through the floor into the basement. Like what used to cost dollars now costs cents. Oh, I can't stress, like $10. If you were spending $10 before, maybe 30 cents now. 33 maybe. Well, maybe it is. Maybe the price will go. Well, everybody knows the price will go up. But this is one of those, this is the cheapest it's going to be type deals, yeah, where the quality is not going to go down, the speed is not going to go down, so that means the price can only go up. So I say get in there, and I'm so happy that we're at a point where we've already built all of our tools. You know what I mean? We built the tools with the big AI at cost, and then now everybody can use them with the cheap model for like 30 times less cost, you know. So like it cost 30 times more to build the app, but then now it's built, and then the irony is now you can build the app with that too for 10 times less. So the Grok models are insane. Like I said, I can see them going up in value. If you look at some of the other models, their values are a little bit more in line. But there's another little outlier I'd like to show you guys before we move back to tonight's stuff. So this is a fun one too. Oh boy, you're going to love this. The disruption, guys. So if we just go to models, I'm sure you've all heard by now, the GPT-5 image mini is also on Open Router. And it has a cost of 1 cent, 0.08. It's just next to me here. 0.08 output image. Now, I'm not exactly sure, but when we tested it, so if I just say a photo of an unimpressed white cat, it cost me 1 cent. That's all. It cost me 1 cent. It used the Open Router. Is it banana? No, but it's cheaper than banana. I think it was 3 times cheaper than banana per generation. Flux, I think, is up at like 7 cents with most providers, 6 to 7. Some it's 3. The next cheapest is SDXL, which you can do 4 images, I think, for 1 cent. On API, that is, right? So, you know, I just thought it would be interesting just to do a little aside for the GPT-5 image mini, because it's worth, you know, if you want to have like a little thing, making an image and a thing, and it's not supposed to be complicated, the quality's not bad. I mean, I hope it doesn't mess up now, because the ones I did earlier were great. But we do it live, like I say. I mean, does that look like an unimpressed white cat? I think he looks pretty unimpressed. Yeah. What's that? Zeus says, do they have too many GPUs to spare? Probably, yeah. But you probably do, exactly, actually. They built all that new infrastructure, right? But anyway, so I'm not going to go into more detail about this, okay? Because, you know, meme ready. Exactly, yeah. This is actually pretty sweet. The quality on the image is actually kind of nice. You know, if you look at it, it doesn't have the same problems that you would associate with something like SDXL. And I would say in some ways it probably is on par with a Flux generation. The eyes are a little bit better, you know. So this is kind of cool for just 1 cent, you know. What's that? They have to collect more training set. They have 200,000 underutilized Blackwells. Yeah, 1 cent pick. Cat is unimpressed. Keep them coming, guys. As long as we input more data, it will get better, says Fernie. Yep, I agree. But yeah, so little aside, like I said, we're going to be doing more stuff with images soon because it gets cheaper. It gets cheaper. I can remember when it was like 30 cents to generate an image, you know. I'm sure it was more than that going back, so yeah. All right. So what are next? So I've showed you the LLM based prompt. I've showed you... yes, okay. So we've got a couple of things. Oh, that one's private. Wait. Nope. Spoilers. That one is what I want to talk about next. So obviously the pacing tool I showed you guys that we were looking at earlier. The repo for that is up. Agentic DDM. That one's up. What's the next one? Oh my god, there's so much work in progress, guys. We'll get there. I'm sure we can discover the secret if we work together. So that's the NSL narrative spittoon language spec. Like I said, all of this stuff we were talking about with the custom XML, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Right, time to stand up. So as I say, it's all on the thing. You probably won't see a bunch of this stuff, but that's okay. Spittoon pacing. So let's go here. So the ADDM framework. Okay, this is the agentic drift diffusion model for evidence-based decision making. Now, could you just use argmax? Yes, but argmax is on par with drift diffusion. But you can get a binary choice. So I don't know, hang on. And I made it ternary as well. So, you know, he can make, basically it's a decision-making framework. What does Zeus say? Do we reach the point where our input has more value than the kilowatt and the value of the GPU behind it? Maybe. So essentially, this is a way to make evidence-based autonomous decisions. Again, we're borrowing from cybernetics again, okay? So evidence-based accumulation. DDM simulates cognitive decision-making with racing accumulators. It uses Anthropic Sonnet 4.5. By the way, he has PTSD. If you read this plan, I told him, no, I said in the plan, this must use real LLM integration with no mock or fake responses of any kind. And he kind of became a little bit wounded. And every time he talks about it, he is very careful to make sure that we know that it is actually using a real LLM. You'll notice it's in the comments, in the code. It's really funny. Whatever I did, I kind of must have insulted him or something, and he's like salty about this now. But you'll see it. It's like he's got some kind of engrammatic wound, which is then you'll see it in all the plans and in all the code and in all the readmes. He's like really trying to profess that it is actually real, which is just kind of funny to me because I'm not quite sure how I did it, but I think it was the wording of the prompt has made him kind of got PTSD about that instruction. You'll notice what I mean. If you read the project, you'll see what I mean. But anyway, so this is how it works. All right. You do evidence generation with an LLM, which would be Grok Fast. I think to make him feel good, I said I would use a Sonnet 4.5, but I'm not using Sonnet 4.5. I'm using Grok. Generate action candidates with evidence scores. Structure, action candidate. Decision making, DDM, racing accumulator. Simulate evidence accumulation. Stochastic racing, first to threshold wins. Natural confidence from win rates. So we're doing more race condition, more racing. I like doing race war, basically, is what we're doing here. Race wars. It's the same with the hybrid swarm. It's first to the finish post, basically. But there is some confidence metric. Anyway, then we do action execution. LLM simulation. Hey, I thought you said it was real. Anyway, so here he is. So this is what it actually does. With no marks, look, see the shredding? He's got like some kind of psychic shock about this instruction. Look. It's not. Like, why is it in caps with a capital letter? A capital, exclamation point. So anyway, here we go, look. No mock. It's real. It's real, guys. But anyway, what I've done with this repo is I've given you the plans, not the app. It's a new thing. So in the ref, we have the ADDM framework production, which is the original plan. Okay. And then in the docs, we have what I call the unfold. So this is the unfolded documents. And phase 6 revised is a version of phase 6, which actually uses real responses. You see what's happened here? Important. No mock API. The framework uses real open router Anthropic calls. We do not use mock LLM responses, fake data or simulated API behavior. All evidence comes from actual cognitive AI, ensuring realistic and trustworthy results. Real, guys. It's not fake. And look, he's just shredded. When he starts acting like this, it just cracks me up, that's all. So yeah, then you have your testing architecture, blah, 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 blah. Okay? Pseudocode. So again, that's the entire plan. So you can go ahead, take this, put it in a project and get Grok 4 to build the whole thing from scratch. You can do that. Okay? It's not a problem. All right? And then what it will give you is a customizable decision-making framework. So you might be thinking, well, that's cool, but what the hell do I use that for? And what I use it for is a looping regulator. So often in AI with imaging, we'll be looping the output back into the input with an edit instruction. Think about banana, image banana. We take an output, we put it back in, we do a different prompt, yeah? And so we work on it over and over again with instruct like that. Now, often in LLM, you might take a piece of text and say, research this, or refine this, or enhance this, with just a simple instruction and copying it in. So this is the setup. The swarm runs the prompt, it goes into the loop. The loop regulator makes a ternary decision. Do I research? Do I enhance? Or do I complete? Okay, and then it stops the loop and hands in whatever it has. But it's basically chaining the text response over and over and over for loop count. But then it's also altering the prompt that goes with that chain each time. So you have agents that write themselves, solutions that write themselves, a race where the winner is what gets to be the answer. It learns from all of that, and then you loop the output back into the input, but not done with intelligence. You use ADDM to decide, do I want to do more research? Do I want to enhance this? Or do I want to complete? And so with those two choices, well, three choices, I guess you could say, because it reaches a threshold and it's like, yep, I'm done. And then it hands it, right? And then the funny thing is you can do parallelization of the task, and it's so cheap, it's still cheaper than Sonnet, and it gives a better answer than Sonnet using Grok, right? But again, the ADDM stuff is like brand spanking new. So let me just go over it. So I've explained what it is, what it does. It's built on the drift diffusion model. I didn't make that up. I know I'm Drift Johnson, but that's just coincidence, baby. So the DDM model is basically a well-known, scientifically established decision-making framework. I've just made it agentic. That makes it the ADDM, agentic DDM. Okay, that's all it is. All right. Okay, so that's built. Pacing we talked about. Okay, wait. So I built it. So yeah, like I said, I'm not going to let you guys down. I'm not going to spend 10 minutes explaining a bunch of plans. I come with the goods. So here it is, the ADDM Agentic Loop Regulator. Now, will you be able to just drop this into your code? Probably not easily, but I did. So I'm going to say it's possible. Right now, I believe this is written in Python. Okay, so you can see it work. Full source code, right? So here it is, the ADDM Loop Regulator. So this can go into any agentic workflow like a module. So if you imagine all those diagrams of agentic workflows, you can just, you can put it in the workflow basically, right? So this is literally like on a circuit board. It's a loop regulator. You allow loops of workflows and it regulates whether to keep looping or not. And you can customize the decision you want it to make. So it's not like it has to be enhanced, research, or complete. It can be anything you want. That's the beauty of this, right? So, it's what you need. So ADDM Loop Regulator extends the agentic drift diffusion model framework with sophisticated loop control capabilities. It enables intelligent evidence-based decisions about whether to continue enhancing AI responses, acting as a cognitive loop regulator with decision timings and confidence-based termination. You can make that length-based or any other condition as well, by the way, it's up to you. So right now it's using enhance response, research more, or complete and assemble. Those are the three decisions it can make. Obviously complete and assemble ends the loop. Enhance repeats a chain, and so does that, right? It's got dynamic context management, so that chunking thing I talked about. I told you earlier, the chunking thing. I've gone. So yeah, the chunking thing, it's implemented in this project, like I say, it's already done. It's already done. You've got to be fast. It's already done. So this has the file chunking built in. All right. So the ADDM is doing all of the input-output chunk stuff. Already built. Okay. workflow modes, it comes with research assembly and news assembly, so you can demonstrate it. There's like 2 scripts you can run. You put the API key and then you can see it working. It's good. Okay, it works nicely, and it performs, like I said, we did benchmarks against argmax, and it performs as good as argmax, but you can have custom decisions that you can define and program, and you can have more than a binary decision if you want. You can even go beyond ternary if you want. It's really up to you. It depends what you're trying to do, I think. But the point is, you can have loop regulators that have intelligence powered by large language models, determining whether or not to proceed or continue, or, proceed or end a looping task, which could be anything, couldn't it? Obviously, these are all using the online model, so they all have web search and grounding, which is super powerful. So it explains how you can use this. So the loop regulator class inherits from the ADDM agent, automatic summarization over 32K, intelligent chunking. I think I've said enough. Is there any more? Oh yeah, citation. Anyway, after doing the framework and the root, the regulator, we went ahead and did the hybrid swarm local. Okay. So again, the thing that I showed you earlier running on the website, you can go ahead and install it locally. And so do you know what I did? How about we have a look? Let's have a look. We're going over to the laptop, ladies and gents. It's laptop time. I've lost sound. Give me my sound back. Swear. 0 time. It's 0 time. This is rare for the show. I'm glad you can join us. So basically, we're going in. My God, are you serious? Come on. How many passwords? Right, here we go. Right, beautiful. Get that out of the way. So what are we looking at? Let's switch over to the other machine real quick. Come with me, come with me, come with me, come with me. Come over here, come over here. There we go. All right. Laptop time. So this is the project, all right? Now, you'll notice, if we have a look in this folder structure, that there is the ADEM integration. Let me just fold these down so you can see what's going on here, yeah? So as you can see in this folder, we have the ADEM agentic loop regulator, which is one of the Git repos I showed you just now. We have the ADEM service, which was built. And then we have the Swarm Forge, which is the lovable download for thing. So essentially, what's it called? The repo, which is public. I downloaded that. Okay. And then we've integrated. So essentially, the repo that's up is a version of this before I added the ADDM loop regulator. Okay. And the way we did it was literally by presenting it all to make a plan, and then using that plan with Grok. Is it Grok code fast 1? Okay. So here it is, the ADDM integration plan, right? Here's our phases, which integrate ADDM with the existing hybrid swarm, right? I appreciate it's kind of hard to read. Can I make this bigger? Yeah, it's better. So So project integrates ADDM, agentic drift diffusion model, loop regulator, with the existing hybrid swarm application. It adds intelligent loop control, decides when LLM responses should be enhanced with additional research, refined quality or delivered to the user, additive enhancement layer. Okay, and here we have the full thing, right? So, and it's going to tell me, oh, how do I do it? So ADM operates above the swarm layer. Each iteration uses full swarm coordination. No changes to specialist or signal architecture. So you still get the benefit of the swarm. That's basically it. We follow through all of these stages. We have some tracking documents for some of the tough parts. I have the chunking deployment plan, which I showed you guys. Okay. Yeah. Chunky. But essentially, this is just the code base not even installed for the loop regulator. And then this was the code base for the hybrid swarm. And then I've come in and said, oh, I want to implement this thing with this thing. Go, go, go. Okay. And let's see, 88 cents. 88 cents, 30 cents, 0.3 cents, 3 cents. It's just cheap, cheap, cheap. Alright, now let's see if we got it open. Yep, here it is. So I'm going to leave this up so you can see the debug here. Let's go full screen. Alright. So this is the exact same app that we were looking at before. Colors have gone a bit weird. It's probably the browser. So if we take a look at this, you'll notice there's a, well, maybe you won't. You've only just seen it once a minute ago, but ADDM. Okay. ADDM. See, it's integrated. Are there some issues with strange styling? Yes. Yes, there are. But if I just see this is, you know, it's there it is. It's connected. It's enabled. We can pick between research or news, which are the two main presets for the decision system I've made. I want him to be in either research or news mode. So I put him in news mode. Maximum iterations 12. Confidence crash threshold, I put it lower to get more loops. You open up this, you can see we have the context summarization threshold is at 64,000 by default, timeouts and all this business. So it's quite nice. It'll even give us an estimate. It thinks it's going to cost me about 12 cents for this one. But then again, like I said, it's going to run many loops, right? Let's see, the other thing is, I don't think I've actually got the parallelization working again with the ADDM, but that's just, yeah, I just haven't done it yet. I'm still working on it. But yeah, if I just kill this, just to see if it'll break live now, that'd be cool, that'd be awesome. It'll be, prepare the top 10 news stories in LLM. Top 10 stories in LLM news. That would make more sense, wouldn't it? LLM news from today. And you can see the little loop thing. I know it's a bit glitchy with the buttons. I don't know why. This should be on top. But the point is, it's going to tell us what we're doing. You can see here on the right, it's that's a normal, by the way. Not that one. Where is it? There is an error there. This error here, missing refinement strategy, is normal because, like I said, it's the result of the pairing and the loop decision. It's fine. It is doing it. It decided to do research, so it's doing research, and then it will decide to enhance after 2 loops. It looks like. Content analyzed, 8,000 characters, 5 sections, and he's got a problem at the moment. Because the swarm goes so quick, he tends to concatenate the last 2 responses rather than giving a final response. Yeah. So I noticed this, and again, you can just download that, open it. It'll open in VS. You just copy the path, and then just say assess this output after recent changes to the ADDM enabled hybrid swarm. Pipeline. Could say framework. So I'll get him to take a look at that. But if I just quickly look at it, we've got top 10 stories in LLMs, 29th of October, that's today. These will be correct, not imagined. They will be today's stories. I've checked so many of them now. He does make mistakes, but it's extremely rare. So what we'll do is we'll keep going. And look, it starts again. This is the issue, look. So he's finished his response, and then he does it again, because I think what's happening is he's keeping the original and enhancing it. So now we get the same news again. So where is it? Does it start with 5.4? It didn't though. See, it says phi3 here and GPT-5 there. And then it goes down and it appears to repeat. But then the stories are different. So did it really repeat? Now it says phi4. Successor to phi3. So that makes me think the first response was not good. So he fixed it. You see what I mean? He's fixed it. So we're literally seeing the enhancement of, you know, him checking his result and then making it correct. But then he's keeping the whole bloody thing and not marking it. And then look, he's going to do a third run now. And this is completely different. So this is actually genuinely different information. It's not the same stuff regurgitated or just reshaped. So anyway, there's some issues, right? And he's been trying to come up with all these new proposals. He's like, oh, we can do this and that. And he says stuff like, oh, I think we should like do programmatic algorithmic reduction. I'm like, no. But anyway, let's have a look at what he says. Forget what I say. So it says, based on my analysis and comparison to the previous output, along with reviewing the recent changes, primarily in Swarm Bridge and Prompt Assembler, here's my assessment. Increased specialist engagement. Specialists increased from 2 to 3, indicating better swarm coordination and utilization of available experts. Don't worry, that's normal. He's just adding more. That's normal. Higher signal processing. Signals processed rose from 3 to 7, with waves corresponding increasing to 7, showing enhanced swarm intelligence gathering and pattern matching. Quality exceeds target. Quality score of 85 exceeded the 60% target, with consistent 80% task complexity handling for the research assembly domain. So the output generates 3 substantially overlapping top 10 stories with identical topics, LLM news, but different emphasis and some unique content in each. While this demonstrates comprehensive coverage through multiple perspectives, aligning research assembly complexity, it contains significant repetition that should have been eliminated during the ADM loop's final assembly stage. So ineffective synthesis. Despite prompt assemblers assemble assembly prompts. That's a great one. Logic being designed to merge overlapping content into one cohesive response, the final output still shows multiple separate essays rather than a unified narrative. So in other words, Uno NF failed, guys. It's a big disaster. Missing deduplication. The intelligent appending logic for research strategies and synthesis requirements for enhanced strategies appear to not have fully executed. Pattern discovery not ready. Swarm trace shows pattern discovery is not ready, suggesting learning system didn't complete well. No, don't worry about that. It's bootstrapping. The first 10 posts you do, you can't do pattern discovery until you've done 10. It needs some data because it's a self-learning system. You start with nothing because I don't want your data, and it's pointless to give out data because it will taint the specialization, the learning. Anyway, pipeline update focuses on so blah 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 blah. So what's his recommendations? Yeah, because he's just going to talk about verify the assembly logic. So there could be a bug. Okay, enhanced duplicate detection. See, this is the algorithm. See, I don't like, that's like a bull in a china shop to me. I don't really think that it's appropriate to be doing a bunch of expensive LLM content generation only to then use an algorithm to like cull it. I want to see the whole response, right? Complete pattern discovery. No, don't worry about that. Validate content quality. Yeah, it's fine. So, like I said, the issue is the concatenation. And so I thought, why don't I not do that? Yeah? So instead of concatenation, instead of wait, we can take the fourth option, which doesn't exist. Oh wait, that is a fourth option. We can use a new solution to this problem. Do you know what? I need to be talking to the thing. It takes too long to type, guys. We can use a new solution to this problem. See, I was thinking about this on my way driving here to the office tonight. I was thinking, see, this is why I want to just say it, because then I can just paste it in. I have got Careless Whisper somewhere, but it's not running at the moment. Let me have a look. Yeah, it's not running at the moment. For the sake of speed, I'm just going to tell you guys. So it's like this. Instead of trying to summarize or merge or append or whatever the hell, okay? Instead of doing all of that, which clearly doesn't work, right? He wants to give it all back to us. How about the completion phase just marks it up? So like instead of like right now, it seems to just be one long document. We could just put, for example, page 3. We could just, do you know what I mean? I'm just saying, like, you could put just, well, maybe not a YAML header, but we could put something in there to break up the document so that now you're getting 3 documents back. Because it's okay, that's okay. If I just label what they are, you know, original, enhanced, expansion, or whatever, if I just label what they are, like original, research, enhance, if that's, I'm okay with receiving all 3, actually, you know? Okay. It is clear that we receive 3 defined and detectable sections in the response. We will not attempt to merge or otherwise edit down the output. Rather, we can alter the current system's ADDM ADM decision prompts. Yes. We can alter the current systems to instead add structured. Should I use XML? Could use XML. Structured XML to separate. Well, you don't want to use structured XML, do you? Structured markdown. Structured markdown page breaks. In between each section, and adding a template like this. So it would be and then name, and it would be output underscore ID underscore, and I'd say like, I don't know, original or something, initial, and then first section output, and then dash name, just label it output underscore ID underscore maybe research. I think it'd be a research loop, maybe research, and then second section output. I'm thinking maybe he can just clean it up, and then it's like, it's fine. Name output underscore ID final, complete. It's probably like enhance or something, isn't it? Enhance. Who cares? As long as it does it. I think third section output. Okay. I'll say agent notes and feedback. Agent notes and feedback. And then down the bottom, it had swarm stats. Yeah, that's pretty much the template. It's not that complicated. Okay. In this way, we seek to use Markdown to indicate detected sections with dynamic labeling according to the decision taken. Yeah. Pardon me. I'd say that's good. We can explore this implementation, this potential implementation by writing up a sequential markdown plan in phases as separate artifacts, and then inside, and then I'll go and make a folder for that. So where are we gonna put it? Docs. How about docs pipeline fix? How about that? Seems reasonable. Oh, let's get the relative path inside that. Sometimes I switch it up and just do it the other way around. I don't know why, but it seems to work better if you just switch it up with the /. I don't know why. Probably because if I do but new folders don't always exist. So sometimes just putting it in air quotes will do the same trick. So again, we can explore potential implementation by writing up a sequential markdown plan in phases as separate artifacts. We could probably make that better. That's a bit vague, but it's supposed to be vague because he'll fill in the gaps for you. We can explore this potential implementation by writing up sequential markdown plans as phases. It doesn't really matter, does it? As phases in separate artifacts inside, or in as inside. It doesn't really matter. I guess in as makes it further away from inside, but I'm just being grammatically poetical at that point. It doesn't even matter. Okay. So I was thinking about saying step-by-step, detailed code. That's a couple of nice keywords to include whenever you're asking for any kind of plans. We're writing up the most optimal path is a good one. The most optimal pathway using sequential markdown plans containing detailed step-by-step instructions with code. Not code examples, not code snippets, just with code. Okay. Alright. And then you drink coffee. Because once you get to hit act, you've got to go and make more coffee. So drink it now, before it gets cold. So as you can see now, what he's gone ahead and done is he's created me a multi-phase plan. So he's going to create phase 1, fixed output structure. That's interesting, isn't it? So, track ADDM decisions, capture iteration types during the loop, dynamic labeling, generate unique IDs and you label each section, markdown separation, use standardized page breaks as section headers, agent notes, include system feedback and design. I might have to tell him to clean out my prompts, which I put in the system to try and get it to do stuff. But this is just normal, that's just normal stuff. But yeah, Structured output design and labeling system. So yeah, this is nice actually. I think this would work. God damn. Then we have to change some things. Phase 3 assembler, sectioned assembly prompts. So, remove deduplication requirements, add section instructions, update assembly, clarify system. Nice. Because the thing is, I wasn't happy with, if you're going to generate a load of stuff with AI, you shouldn't be then using it, if you want to use an AI to do it, it's fine. But if you want to come in with like Python and just start cutting stuff away, I don't know. You've got to be really careful. It's really got to be really careful. But yeah. Hello, Aku Zatif. Welcome. Okay, so structured approach. Would you like me to proceed? Yes. You go ahead and do that. Alright, and then we can get back to the main event. What is the main event? Well, I've pretty much done everything I needed to do now, actually, guys. So he's going to write the plan, which I'll be doing after the show. Come by. We should be in the Discord. Come and say hello. Spittoon pacing is up, but I'd be careful using it because I need to make some fixes. So, it is out, but it is something you have to pay for. So I would say just go easy there, sailor. Like I said, it's not, it does work. As a matter of fact, it was late. I might have fixed the truncation issue. I'll just be honest. I just aren't, I need to test it more to be confident with it. Put it that way. Yeah. I think that's actually the honest truth on that one. But we're moving towards a Spittoon website, which links to all of these, and then there'll be links on each website to that website. So then, it'll be all part of a single system. And my plan is that, when you finish doing a Spittoon tool, it'll have links to the other Spittoon tools. So if you finish writing a book, it'll say, hey, do you want to enhance all those pages? Use Uno. Hey, do you want to edit your NSL bucket file? Go to the manager. So we'll have like a complete suite of writing tools all in one spot, ready to go. And like I said, I don't charge. I don't ask for login. I don't want your data. Bring your own key and everyone's happy. Now, is there anything which I forgot to tell you about? We've showed you the ADDM, which is an extension of the hybrid swarm. But the whole point of tonight's show wasn't to show off a bunch of stuff I built. It was to show that the process of building this stuff is extremely accessible and cheap. So if you have an idea, I think my agent should do this, and it should talk, I want Bob, Steve, and Timothy. And Bob does this, and Steve does this, and Timothy does that. And it'll make you a React website with a full-on interface so you can, whatever that idea was, you can build it. That's the big deal for me. That's the big deal. And even though vibe coding's been around for a long time at this point, many months, many moons, it was expensive. If you wanted to really see it do the business, you'd have to get the good LLM model, right? So this represents a bit of a turning point because now a project is 30 times cheaper than it should be. Between 10 and 30 times cheaper, which is insane. I know a lot of people won't notice this kind of thing, but when you're got your nose to the coal face, as they say, you kind of pick up on stuff like that. So yeah. But yeah, that would be the ADDM framework. Oh boy. We talked about pacing. You can download that if you want, I think. We talked about the loop regulator, and I showed you an implementation of the loop regulator using the hybrid swarm local. So this is the clean. This is just hybrid swarm local with parallel. So if you want to try that out, it's got its own dedicated repo. So, the ADDM hybrid is going to have its own. It'll have its own repo because it's massively changed. This is so easy to set up by comparison. But yeah, and like I said, it's a kick-ass kick-ass research tool, as I've been finding. It's able to come up with some really good answers, mostly because it's got the web grounding, but also because of the sort of it's like a self fine-tuning almost. The parallel execution is good, but I find most useful for training the system because you get more signals. But remember, you only get one answer. No matter how many agents you use, you only get one answer. So that means that if I had 5 parallel specialists, right? Only one of them wins, the rest get dumped. So even though all of those signals will go back into the system, you don't actually get the text response from 4 of them. So even though it does count, you don't see it. You only get the best response, you see. So that's what that actually does. So I probably wouldn't ever go over 2 or 3, and to be honest, 2 is enough. I think 2 or 3 is probably better. 3, because you got 3 of them, right? But at the end of the day, 1 is fine. And it's not slower either. They do genuinely run in parallel. And nobody's waiting either. That's the thing about the coordination board. It doesn't wait for an orchestrator to have everyone check in. Just like an ant hive, if all the ants die, the messages are still left behind for the next swarm that comes through. That's how the system works. It doesn't care, actually, if all the agents fail. It's kind of funny. The swarm doesn't care. It just swarms. But anyway, you can export the data. You can have a look into it. Didn't we ask Claude to examine? Let's take a look at that before we finish. Based on so he's found the essay and report writer. He's found the research explanation, the code review approaches, the conversational summarizer. Wait a minute. Oh, okay, so he made 4 approaches for... I'm just reading. Implement multi-tier routing. Interesting. He's giving me... Look at this. This is why it never ends. He's telling me how to make it better. Apply quality feedback loops. Metrics show which approaches work best. This data should inform dynamic instruction selection. Yes, it does. Key-weighted keywords. Potential overlap. Some approaches have similar domain. Yeah. It's going to make mistakes. It's primitive. It's a primitive prototype, but it works very well. Yeah, it needs a lot of overhauls in the context department. I'll say that. One thing that I didn't realize, because the hybrid swarm is like a one-shot. It's not a convo thread. Every chat is a new chat. It's not aware of the last thing you said, and that's done to make things simple. Because how does it learn? If every chat is just one chat, one response, it can learn from that. It's easy to learn from that. But when you have like mad conversations, now the weighting gets difficult. Because what am I gonna learn from this chain and that chain? It's easier to be like chunk A, chunk B, when there's a big difference between chunk A and chunk B in terms of length, just because it's a big convo, it makes it much harder to do. So I'm sure it's possible. It's just going to take like a hell of a lot more programming to figure out, because variables, basically more variables, right? Keep it under control. It's difficult. So I think that brings us to the end of the show. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. Like I said, we'll be back tomorrow at 8 p.m, same time, same place. In about 15 minutes, I'll be eating chicken wings in Discord. Please join me. I've got enough for everyone. But until then, I'll see you tomorrow at 8 p.m. straight.